All right, guys. Welcome to the post-game Showtime post-game report. This is Devon Johnson. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Come on into the room. Come on into the room. Come on into the room. Tough game. Tough game, man. Tough game. Tough game. Well, the Lakers lose tonight to the Pacers, 105-102. The streak of undefeated away from Staples Center is officially over, and it ends on a night where, of course, we are shorthanded with not only Kyle Kuzma still being injured, but more importantly, and probably the biggest, is Anthony Davis being out as well. And so tonight was a tough one, man. It was a very tough loss. Plenty of ups and downs in the game. The team had some moments where it looked like they had the game in hand, but shout out to the Pacers, and congratulations to them for such a well-fought game. They played well, and our guys fought well as well. Unfortunately, my mic sounds weird. I'm so sorry, guys, if my mic sounds weird. Does it sound better now? Somebody let me know if it sounds better. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me if you guys can hear me. But in any case, it was one of those nights where it really wasn't a matter of Anthony Davis being out, even though it was unfortunate that he was out tonight. The game was not actually lost because of that. We actually could have won the game even without Anthony Davis. The story of tonight was free throws, and not just free throws, but hitting free throws when it mattered. LeBron James had a tough night at the free throw line tonight. He was 4 of 8, but as a team, collectively, we shot 47%. So we shot sub 50% from the free throw line, which normally wouldn't be an issue, but we went to the line. We had 17 opportunities. We had 17 shots. We were 8 for 17 tonight, and that's just not going to cut it. Not going to cut it on the road. Not going to cut it against a very well coached, good Pacers team that has complete confidence in themselves. And so even without Anthony Davis, the game could have been won in clutch moments had we hit free throws when we were supposed to. Not only that, our three-point shooting was pretty awful tonight. We shot 25%, but the bigger issue is that 25% came on 31 threes. We only hit 8 out of 31 threes tonight, and it just wasn't the night. We saw some great revelation moments though. The good points and the high points of not having Anthony Davis in was seeing what the offense can do, seeing what the defense can do. And as crazy as it sounds, keeping the Pacers to 105 tonight was actually a halfway decent job. We had some incredible play, and we're going to talk through some of those players tonight. I think the first person we have to start with is Dwight Howard, who I believe had a season high tonight at 20 points in 26 minutes. He was a perfect 10 for 10. He utilized the pick and roll perfectly tonight. Absolutely no problems with the way he played, with the exception of his free throws. He missed all 3 of his free throws in the game, but that's the price that you pay. Okay, so he's going to give you 20 points. He also gave us 2 blocks, but the issue is that when it comes down to crunch time, he's going to be a liability at the free throw line. The bigger issue that I think is showing up is that when you have Dwight Howard in, generally Dwight Howard pairs up great with another big. And by not having Anthony Davis out there tonight, it didn't really work as well as it should have. But all in all, he had a great game. Once again, shot 10 of 10. He was perfect from the field and had 6 rebounds and, of course, 2 blocks. And also, we have to talk about Caruso. Alex Caruso had some incredible gameplay tonight. And I listen, he does what he does, and he does it well, man. But tonight he had 2 steals, 11 points. He was hitting some critical stuff, man, hitting threes. He only hit 2 out of 5 threes, but he hit them when it mattered. He hit his only free throw on a 3-point play, which is like an impossible shot. But he did it, and it was incredible to watch that, man. It was incredible to watch people step up in the absence of Anthony Davis. But once again, this game was lost due to free throws. And when you get to the playoffs, when you get into talking about championships and finals, I'm telling you, championship teams have to have trustworthy players on the floor that can hit free throws. And tonight just was not the night for the Lakers, but it also let us know their biggest weakness is not necessarily depth. We showed that we had depth. We showed that we had defensive intensity, even without having the defensive player of the year on the floor. The Lakers still were able to move beautifully offensively, move and rotate beautifully defensively. But the bigger issues was when it really mattered in clutch time. To get free throws, they just could not do it. And I'm just telling you, 8 of 17 for free throws is very reminiscent of our last 6 years. And that is the one thing that has carried over, even despite the veteran leadership, even despite the stars, the superstars that we have in LeBron and Anthony Davis. In these moments where it gets clutch time, this is probably where we miss Anthony Davis the most. He's of course, his defense is impeccable. His offensive game just literally puts pressure every single possession on the team that he's on the floor. But when you have these clutch moments, if you've noticed throughout the season in the clutch moments, it's not LeBron normally taking those shots. It's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is our most trustworthy free throw shooter, I believe, that we have. Between him and KCP, just lights out from the free throw line. And we did not have him tonight, which means we did not have him in clutch time. This is hard. This is a hard one to swallow, not because it's a loss, but because of how we lost. We fought tough. We got back in the game, got the lead, and we were just unable to do the thing. The easiest part of the game is the free throw, and unfortunately, it has been the Achilles heel of this team. And it showed tonight. What's better about this is that now both the Bucks and the Lakers have both lost. So essentially, it's a wash as far as records go. But now when we go into this game on Thursday with the Bucks, now we have gotten the streak out of the way. Both teams are not worried about streaks. Everything now is focused in on that game. Now, what I do love, and I want to say this before I get to the questions, this was one of those games that it was very possible the Lakers could look past the Pacers for the Bucks. And tonight I did not sense that. I sensed there was an urgency. I sensed there was a need to make a statement. In fact, I actually saw more of a cohesion and a unity, especially amongst the bench. Look at the point totals from the bench tonight. 20 points from Dwight Howard, 7 points from Rondo, 13 from Avery Bradley, who woke up tonight, 11 from Caruso. Like, when you see that kind of production out of your bench, and you pair that with a 20 from LeBron James, a 10 from McGee, a 10 from Caldwell Pope, if you could have added, of course, an AD in there, that would have been just tremendous. Of course, normally LeBron James and Anthony Davis contribute an average of over 50 points per game. And tonight, we obviously were missing his offensive production. But once again, I think we could have won the game even without AD's offense. It was the free throws where we needed him the most. Let's get into these questions, man. Donovan Bryant 8, tough one, but okay with what I saw. And you guys let me know in the chat. Did you like what you saw tonight? I personally loved it. I think what we saw tonight is exactly what we want to see. We saw progress from our bench. And this is the first time, really, we've had this problem. We've always had injury problems, but having one of our superstars down, this is like the first time we've really had that issue. We've seen AD fight through so many injuries, man. Fight through the flu, fight through the ribs, fight through the shoulder. And really watching them in flow without Anthony Davis tonight was encouraging to see that we were missing his production, but we didn't take a step back in momentum, and we didn't take a step back in defensive intensity. And I just said that's a shout out to not only the players but the coaches. Coming out of the timeout, Frank Vogel would call timeouts at the right moments, get the team motivated. They would come out with fresh energy. He tried some different lineups tonight, of course, throwing Troy Daniels, who did get 2 points tonight, but throwing him in and trying to mix things up to get the energy flowing and keep things from being stale. And we just fell short tonight. So I liked what I saw. Hate how we lost, but I like what we saw. Al's Acoustic, Dwight is still a liability in the end of games. He is. And once again, Dwight scoring 20 points is not what we've asked of him. It's not what we desire of him. It's great. What we really want Dwight to do is, of course, be there for rebounds, and he was tremendous on the glass tonight. Even when he didn't get the rebounds, he caused them to use so much energy trying to box him out. And then, of course, we need him for defense and blocks. And so he did that great. And he added in, of course, the pick and roll. So to ask him now to do the pick and roll, to do defense, to score 20 points, and, all of a sudden become Superman, pun intended, at the free throw line, we just can't. He's going to be a liability. But he really wasn't the issue tonight. Dwight missing free throws, I expect. LeBron, he can't do that. In fact, this is the stuff that fuels people's debates about him being the greatest or not. And I'm not here to debate whether he is or not, but if you want to know the argument that goes against him, it's moments like this, where it's time for clutch free throws. Not clutch shots, not clutch threes, but clutch free throws. He struggles. He struggles for minutes. It's been his Achilles heel for his entire career. But we love what Dwight gave us tonight, man. It's just unfortunately he couldn't do what Anthony Davis would normally do, and that's the separation, man. That's the separation. That's what makes Anthony Davis so great. He gives you the rebounds and the blocking and the defense and even more offense than Dwight, and is able to hit free throws. That is a unicorn of a big man. And so we unfortunately didn't have him tonight, but Dwight gave us just about everything he had. Dwight played great, but shouldn't be in there at the at the end of, I'm assuming, at the end of games. On a night like tonight, you don't have a choice because JaVale McGee is not going to give you the energy that Dwight's going to give you. Okay, JaVale is slightly slower on rebounding. He's not as, and I'm using the word explosive, but I'm using it in comparison to Dwight and JaVale, so I don't want to go too far with it. But he does not give you the energy that Dwight can. Remember, this is the same Dwight that we were arguing could possibly have been the starter. But of course, we keep him on the bench because he is so well with that second unit. And tonight, when you don't have Anthony Davis, that's your three-headed monster, man. JaVale, Dwight, and AD. And out of those three big men, only AD is the dependable one at the free throw line. And that's Al's acoustic there. Sonny Sandoval 10. This is when Lakers dropped a game they should have won. Yeah, that's true. We should have won that game, but it's a good marker, okay? This is not going to affect our standings. It's not going to affect, if we would have got blown out, that would have been an issue, right? That would have been a big issue to me. But tonight, we fought. We did what we had to do. We just came up short. We should have won. You are completely right, Sonny. This is a game that we should have had, and we just did not have it in the end. Al's acoustic. Real Kobe Lovan. Yeah, Donovan Bryant, it's good. Okay, here we go. Free throws, Sonny Sandoval. Yeah, once again, that's where the issues came in, was with the free throw. Blake St. Clair, another poor fourth quarter. It's almost becoming a habit, letting games slip late. Here's something that I noticed, and I'm probably going to be crucified for this, but I'm going to say it because I noticed it. When there was a moment in the fourth quarter where we made our comeback, and this is when you saw Alex Caruso doing some tremendous stuff. The flow of the offense and the quickness of the defense just seems so much more fluid for that section of time when LeBron was not on the floor. This is not me arguing that LeBron shouldn't be on the floor in late games, but there's also a case to be made about momentum. And so the momentum of that unit, when LeBron came off the floor, it's just there wasn't a lot of waiting to see what decision LeBron was going to make. There was still a lot of passing, a lot of movement. You guys saw that there were plenty of great cuts. JaVale was finding great cuts. Rondo was doing some tremendous passing. Alex Caruso was finding himself open. It was just, there was disruption in the passing lanes when they were on the defensive end. Defensive rotations look a little bit quicker, and the Pacers didn't know what to do with that. And for some reason, when LeBron got back in, it felt like there was a lot more stagnancy to it, a lot more, let me see if he's going to drive it, let me see if he's going to take a long three. And it's one of those things that I think we're going to have to figure out. It's not that we don't want LeBron to carry the game in the end. We want LeBron to have the ball. But we don't want to lose the fluidity of the offense. I mean, it's the part of the reason why we lose leads in the fourth quarter is because when LeBron gets in the crunch time, with his free throws and his offense, he tends to overthink. He tends to overthink it. He'll take shots that he shouldn't take because he's overthinking it. He's thinking that he has to save it sometimes, and he really doesn't. The offense is set, especially now. I can't believe we're saying this, because early on in the season we didn't know what the offense was. But we know the offense now has an identity. It's a very well-oiled machine when it's moving, when there's cuts, and when there's pick and rolls. And for whatever reason, when LeBron takes too much time, if he misses the shot, it's a wasted possession. As opposed to when the offense is flowing, even if we miss the shot, people are in better position to get rebounds. But when LeBron is sitting out on the three-point line and he's dribbling out the clock, then most people are clearing out because they're waiting for him to drive and try to draw the foul. But when you clear out and you let LeBron drive, that leaves the team to collapse on LeBron and then, of course, get the rebound if he misses. And so that's normally how you find the fourth quarters going. You don't normally see that in the first three because the offense is not underneath any pressure. But we have to figure out what is going on with LeBron in crunch time that is causing him to overthink the very simplest of things: when to pass, when to shoot, and how to hit free throws. It's one of the parts of his game that has to be worked on. Sober Warner, 1 ER. Bad three-point shooting and missed free throws cost them the game. Plus, Dudley shouldn't have had play. In actuality, just to be honest, statistically, Dudley actually offers a lot of great play. Of course, tonight he wasn't. He only hit one shot, and it was a three, and he was, one of five from the field. But because he's such a threat at the three-point line, he stretches defenses. And most of the time, teams will not leave him open. In fact, he was shooting. I mean, up until tonight, he was shooting a little above 60% from the 3-point line. That's a tremendous thing to be this far into the season. Okay, we're almost 30 games into the season, and he's shooting at a 60% clip. So most of the time when you insert Jared Dudley, it's because either you're trying to stretch the defense so that they give more space for LeBron to drive. Because if you collapse on LeBron when he's driving and Jared Dudley's on the wing, you're going to give up 3 as opposed to the 2 when LeBron is driving. So that's his role. You want him on the floor, but you want him when he's hitting shots. Tonight just wasn't that night. And in fact, tonight, if you really want to talk about it, tonight was a night where you probably could have tried a few more different lineups, but you really don't have any other options, right? So tonight, the only people who didn't play was Devontae, Kakuk, and Quinn Cook, and Antetokounmpo, right? So do you trust these 3 people in a starting position, right? Or do you throw in an Avery Bradley to go alongside a James McGee, Green, and Caldwell Pope? Well, out of all the people on the bench, Jared Dudley in his position has more length, right? So you kind of put him in the game because he gives you a little bit more veteranship on the floor. He understands plays a little bit better. He's nowhere near as athletic, but he hits threes much more consistently. So it's one of the catch-22s, right? And in fact, when you look at it, this is where the trade stuff starts to make sense, right? So we're starting to hear names like Robert Covington come up and Jeff Teague as potential pieces that like other teams are trying to move. Well, if you put a Covington in this lineup, then you don't see Jared Dudley playing. But tonight, Jared Dudley had to play because there really was no other rotative piece that you could have put in. And of course, he's running with at minimum of a 10-man lineup. You probably won't see him run with anything less than 10 and a maximum of 13, or of 12, I'm sorry. So you're probably not going to see him go below that. So with that being said, you really didn't have many options. It's the reason why Troy Daniels got run tonight. It's because there was no other options. LeBron, even though scored 20, he was 8 of 20 from the field, exactly. Super winner. And part of that is because LeBron has had the privilege of being able to play alongside AD, which gives him so much more opportunity. And of course, the 8 of 20 is one thing, but remember, he had 9 assists tonight, and that was without AD, okay? So it seemed like more of his offense was in the assist category, but once again, in the fourth quarter, he moves away from that dishing and from that assisting and being that conductor of the offense and starts going into an ISO superstar mode, which really it's not good. Okay, Anthony Davis is more primed for that. Number one, because he just has such a presence on the inside. The only thing you can do is foul, and so LeBron has a problem with driving into the paint for some reason in late in games. In the beginning of games, if you watch the first quarter, LeBron was unstoppable. He was just going straight to the paint and getting in because they couldn't do anything with it. But by the time he gets to the fourth quarter, he stops doing it, and I don't know why that is. Blake St. Clair. Danny Green had to step up tonight and was missing for most of the game. Is it worrying he hasn't really hit his stride yet with the team? No, he's hit his stride. Once again, Danny Green is not there to be a solid scorer. Like tonight he had 6 points. He was 2 of 4 from 3-point, and he only shot 3-point shots. But he hit like momentous shots, man. He hit clutch shots. Like we were trying to get the lead and we were digging ourselves out of that 9-point hole. It was Danny Green who hit that clutch 3 that forced the Pacers to hit the timeout, call the timeout. That's what Danny Green is good for. In fact, the other 3 that he hit was a highly contested 3, and for whatever reason, when he has somebody who is draping all over him, he hits the shot. And so that's what you want Danny Green to do. You want him to have the ability to hit clutch shots when it matters and be able to hit those 3s when you need them. But outside of that, you just need him for defense. And so I really don't look for him to ever hit double digits unless he's just super hot from 3. But that's never been his game in his career. He's been streaky at best. But what gives him, he's a 3-and-D. Okay, that's if you were to classify him, he's going to give you that defense on one side and he's going to give you the 3 on the other. But you're not looking for him to rebound. You're not looking for him to assist. You're not looking for him to do any of that stuff. And so I'm not really troubled by it. What I would love to see is us hit our free throws. That's what I would love to see. But it was a great question there. Sober 1 ER, overall good game, but missed the free throws, killed the Lakers tonight. Absolutely, can't say enough about that. Love that second, and this is Smith 818. Love the second unit started the comeback. Caruso, Dwight held it down. I'm telling you that if you get anything out of this game, That is one of the most encouraging moments of the game is watching Dwight Howard fight the way he fought and watching Caruso once again making the right plays. We talked about this before. Caruso is learning in this season how to play with superstars and where his role fits and how to play with veteran leadership. And as you can just feel the synergy differently now, okay, as opposed to earlier on the season and even last season. Caruso was, of course, the most athletic thing we had seen out of the G League, and he was doing incredible things and putback dunks and all of that. But his synergy as a point guard was a little bit different. Tonight he was diming right. He was dishing at the right time, and at the same time he was also hitting shots when it mattered. And so I loved watching that. That makes me feel confident going against the Bucks. That makes me feel confident going against the Clippers and going against some of these other teams. So hats off to that. That makes me really excited. Spacing on the floor threw everyone off, especially LBJ. Yeah, it's just different. And especially, you got to remember, they adjusted a lot for Anthony Davis. And they spent a lot of time in the training camp and in the early part of the season learning how to play around Anthony Davis. Where do you put him in the offense? Vogel talked about that in the first 7 games. We got to find a better way to get AD going. And once they started making adjustments, AD started hitting north of 25 on a consistent basis in the point total category. But when you take him out of the offense, now you're taking a focal piece out and you're asking people to readjust, including LeBron. If Anthony Davis plays tonight, LeBron probably goes close to 15 assists tonight and probably scores close to 30 because the pressure of having to get the lead wouldn't be there. The pressure of having to hit free throws wouldn't be there, and he can just play his game without overthinking. You take Anthony Davis out of that, and you're putting LeBron back in the same position he was last year, where he's trying to overthink and carry a team. And so, yeah, the spacing, how to play without Anthony was a little bit rough. By the third quarter, they started figuring it out. Rondo went back into almost playoff Rondo mode in regards to orchestrating the defense. He wasn't over dribbling. He was passing. He was finding people. In fact, really, the game kind of hinged on that last second play where he was trying to tap the ball back in off of Holiday, and he just happened to have his foot down just a little bit when he tapped the ball. But that could have been, that's just a heads-up veteran play. It was like the very last second. He thinks, let me just knock this ball out. We can keep possession and not only tie, but possibly win the game. And so he was in a great mode tonight. They figured out the offense a little bit by the third quarter. But once you insert LeBron back in, it messed it up again because now you have Rondo and LeBron, 2 primary playmakers, and your focal offensive piece in AD not there anymore. And it just made it difficult to understand spacing. Why was Rondo with the ball at the end and then took that 3? Why not LBJ? They did a tremendous job. Shout out to the Pacers and Nate McMillan. They did a tremendous job shutting down LeBron James tonight. Remember, LeBron James has had, like I said, the luxury of being able to not, even when he's double teamed, he knows there's an Anthony Davis to dump to. But tonight they just made it their agenda to keep LeBron from being the normal LeBron. And he had some tremendous plays. He did his thing. But tonight they said the last second shot is not going to go to LeBron. And if I'm being honest, I don't know if I want LeBron to take the last second shot. We needed 3 to at least tie the game, and he was 0 of 6 from 3-point. In that last second, of course, I don't want Rondo shooting. I would rather have a Danny Green shoot, who has proven this season that he is great at hitting shots when it matters, right? So yeah, Rondo was not the primary person that the play was drawn up for, but that's the defense gave us that, and that's all he could do. Once again, there was no timeouts. They couldn't advance the ball with the timeout, and so we had to go from once he missed that free throw. Rondo had already orchestrated. Listen, this is what we're going to do. And the minute we crossed half court, they shut everything down in our plan. So, but great question, Asa Kusik. I mean, that's not what we want, and especially from him shooting that far out. But it's what happened tonight. Again, it was the punch the mouth we needed. Good check, yeah, for the whole team. G check, yeah, man. Smith 818. I feel like that's G check, man. I heard that in a minute. Yeah, so it's kind of what we needed. Frank Vogel says we shouldn't need losses to make adjustments, but you're heading into the Bucks, right? And we lost in a very similar fashion to the Bucks. The only difference was we were on the road. The Bucks were at home, but the Bucks lost against a Nuggets team. I mean, against a Mavs team that didn't have Luka, okay, their primary offensive piece, and the Bucks lost. Okay, like tonight, Pacers did not have Victor Oladipo, and we lost. And so, once again, it's part of it is what you need. You know, I'm not mad about the loss. I would be mad if we got blown out. But I'm not mad at it. I think it's going to be good. I think the team. Think about this. They're almost at the end of their road trip and they're playing this hard through the tiredness, through the travel. Now, listen, they're getting ready to go from Indiana, and we saw how crazy the weather is out in Indiana. If you guys watch the Lakers social media, and now we're going even further. We're going to Milwaukee, and so the team is battling through this weather changes from Miami to Milwaukee. That's like the difference in the weather and just traveling and getting on and off the bus and doing all these things with the planes. And they're still fighting, and they still have energy, and they're still going. And I part of me feels like Anthony Davis really, really wanted to play tonight. He was a game time decision initially today, and then of course closer to the game they ruled him out. But I think a part of him was really hoping he was going to get the clearance to play. You want that from your team, you know. You want that. Like this probably could have been an easy night to just take off. Anthony Davis is out. The Bucks are coming up. We didn't already proven ourselves that we're road warriors, but with our record, and we really don't need this game. The Bucks have already lost, so we're not in danger of losing anything as far as the best record in the league, and and of course they didn't, and that's the sign of a championship team. So Sabonis killed Luka-like player. I don't know if I call him Luka-like. He had 26 points tonight. He was 10 of 15. I think for Sabonis. He just works the middle well, and I don't think he would have had anywhere close to that had Anthony Davis been on the floor. I think part of the reason why Anthony Davis does what he does is because he creates such a fear of coming into the paint. Tonight, our bigs were tested. Okay, our bigs were tested, and look, and Dwight did his thing, and JaVale tried his hardest. But it's just not. There's no substitute for having a presence like Anthony Davis in the paint. He understands defense a little bit too well. And so teams or players like Sabonis, Sabonis is a tremendous player. He's a great player. But I don't think he would have scored 26 tonight and been a plus 13. Of course, with 10 rebounds, I don't see that with Anthony Davis on the floor. Donovan Bryant definitely missed AD's paint presence. We just said that. That's good. Thank you. Yes. His paint presence is just like his offense. It's necessary. It opens up. This is what AD's paint presence does for outside perimeter defense. It gives the players the ability to cheat a little bit more and to be a little bit more aggressive with going for steals, because you know that if I miss, if I don't get this steal, or if I get blown by, they're heading right into a brick wall. And Anthony Davis, this is the best part, Anthony Davis actually is welcoming. He wants people to come to the paint because he's looking to prove himself as a defensive player of the year. And so far, he's lived up to that. And tonight, we missed him tremendously. Blake St. Clair, with AD out, it was up to the veterans on the team to play up to the situation. Green and Rondo needed more tonight. Yeah, once again, I'm asking more of probably Rondo than I am Green. I just, when we signed Green, I knew we were signing him for two reasons. Number one, he is a dependable veteran who can shoot the three in clutch situations. And then number two, he can play perimeter defense and take that pressure off of LeBron. But him scoring 6 points tonight is exactly what I expected. Him going 2 of 4 is exactly what I expected. His defense left me a little bit struggling tonight. He only played 28 minutes. But I wish I could have seen him be a little bit more active on the defensive end. But he did his thing. And normally he's pretty much in foul trouble almost every game. He only had 2 fouls tonight, but it also shows that he wasn't as aggressive. He had 1 block, which is good, and only 2 rebounds. But that's fine. Rondo, though, played 26 minutes and only had 7 points. I would have loved to see Rondo around the 15-point mark, especially with AD being out. I would have loved to see him do better than 2 of 9. So you're right. As a veteran, especially a champion like Rondo, I would have loved to see him play a little bit better, because really just that little bit would have been the difference in the game. We only lost by 3, and that was a heavy 3 for them. So, well, I'm sure they'll make adjustments, but you're also seeing this. Adjust your expectations to what you saw tonight. You're probably not going to see Rondo or Green do much better than what they did tonight. Okay? Not in the regular season. Probably in the playoffs you'll see better out of them, but not in the regular season. I think in the regular season, they are still a little bit more experimental in the mindset. And, when you have a record the way that we have a record, you have a streak the way that we have a streak, you have AD and LeBron, and you're going to be fine. You tend to try things a little bit differently, or you don't necessarily try as hard. But when you get to the playoffs, everybody's locked in. So, as of right now, I'm expecting too much more out of them. I would have liked it, but I'm not expecting too much more. Smith 818, a big missed opportunity. This is the type of game that Kuzma could have gotten off. It could have been. I'll say this every post game. I don't really intend for Kuzma to be ready until All-Star break. I just don't. Somebody, if you can, jump into the chat, guys. Tell me when All-Star break is, because I feel like it's in February, but I could be off. Y'all tell me when All-Star break is. But I'm telling you, it's almost the end of December now, and he's still hurt, which means when he does get back, he won't even be into full rhythm, like for real, until mid-January. And then by then, he'll be working himself into rotations. So by All-Star break, you may see him ready to go. But I'm not expecting anything. But this would have been a game. If he would have been fully healthy, ready to go, this could have been the game. But there's nothing, I just don't expect him to have that opportunity to go off until All-Star break and beyond. Add KCP to that list too. Yeah, KCP has been playing pretty good. Once again, tonight he had 10 points, but he was 4 of 10 from the field. He only shot 3 3-pointers, and he missed 2 of those threes were from the corner, which is where he's been so trustworthy in these past few games. But it's easier to be trustworthy with a 3 when you know AD is down below, because teams will play you a little bit softer on the perimeter, or they're trying to run you off the 3-point line because they're so worried about AD. They were not worried about Dwight tonight, because KCP could easily, no joke, pump fake, run in, lob it into AD, and that's alley-oop. But KCP's not going to do that without AD there. And so he's taking the shot. People don't cheat as bad. They're going to play up on him, and he just wasn't able to hit as much. And so he also wasn't even able to get him off as well, right? So you want to see him around 5 or 6 threes if he's shooting trustworthy. 5 or 6 threes a game. Maybe he hits 3. But if he hits 3 out of 6, that's better than 1 out of 3, But tonight, I wish he could have stepped up a little bit more. So Donovan Bryant 8. So we can't lose 2 in a row. That means guaranteed win against the Bucks, right? I love the idea of not losing 2 in a row. I think that would be great. I don't know how realistic that is or how necessary it is. I mean, it's a great goal to have. Like, we don't want to lose back-to-back games. I appreciate that. Do I expect us to beat the Bucks? It all depends on how well Anthony Davis is. If Anthony Davis is like upright, ready to go, and that may have been part of the reason why they didn't play him tonight, was we would rather have you fully healthy to go up against Giannis than for you to be hobbled tonight and hobbled then. But listen, it's very possible we could lose that game. Very possible we could win that game. That's why everybody wants to watch it. Everybody wants to watch that game because literally, like, it's a measuring stick for 2 of the best teams in the NBA. This was so funny, and I got to just put a pin in this real quick. There were so many of the media and the pundits talking about the Clippers were better in the beginning of the season, and rightfully so. On paper, everything else to them made sense. But notice how that talk has changed tremendously. Now the reason why everything is so hyped up for Thursday is because everybody's saying these are the 2 best teams in the league. That is universal across the board. Everybody believes, and I believe every team believes this. The Bucks and the Lakers are who we're going to have to go through if we want to get to the finals. And that just, to me, shows that you really can't judge people off paper. Yeah, so they made fun of Jared Dudley signings and the whole 9. But listen, I mean, we've only lost, 4 games so far? We've only lost 4 games out of 28. Like, that's, sorry. I mean, that's proven its point. But no matter what happens in the Bucks game, all I want my boys to do is to fight. I want to see AD go up against Giannis. I want to see an all-star heavyweight bout. I want to see Ali Frazier. I want to see, just like LeBron said, I want to see that. But if we lose it, but we have a good fight, I'm fine with it. If we go up there and we get embarrassed like the Clippers did, then we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, and that post-game is going to be very, very toxic. I'm just letting you know right now. Blake St. Clair, I have that shirt, that T-shirt. Yes, this is... I've carried this T-shirt with me, and I wore it specifically tonight because I thought it was going to help us win. I literally went and changed at halftime and was like, come on, guys, pull through for my boys. But it didn't work. It's probably because I didn't wash it. Laker Metropolis. Indy is a tough place to play in. It is. It's tough. It's tough for most teams, and it's also tough for LeBron. LeBron's had a tough time in Indiana, of course, against the Vogel teams in the playoffs and the whole 9. But you want that. You want to be battle tested. You want to know what it feels like. If we were in a 7-game series against the Pacers, I guarantee you this night would be the catalyst for us running off a streak and beating them for the rest of the series. It would be a gentleman's sweep after that. If this was game one of a 7-game series, we would wipe the floor with them after that. We would wipe the floor with them, guaranteed. Guaranteed. We've seen Kuz win us a couple of games like this season. Yeah, Donovan Bryant, hey, you're correct. Unfortunately, though, it's not trustworthy enough that I would say that I know for a fact that Frank Vogel will leave him in at the end of every game. That's not gospel truth, because we don't know what Kuz is going to give you. It's all dependent on how he's handling the moments and how he's shooting. And he's been up and he's been down. And once again, I think we're all expecting of Kuz because we know how good not only he can be, but he is. He is a good player. He doesn't need to prove that anymore. He's proven that he can play well with LeBron and that he's a tremendous player. What we're waiting for is for it to be consistent. Consistent as the first time we saw him in Summer League or the first time we saw him playing alongside Lonzo. We want him to be that consistent again. And I don't anticipate that consistency of his scoring and his identity in the offense and defense until closer to All-Star break. All right, Laker Metropolis. Turnovers continue to be a problem for the Lakers. They did. I didn't keep the count, but tonight, we had 14 turnovers. And I got to put this in perspective because the championship Warriors, and this is the standard that I'm using because that's the last great dynasty. I believe that we're building a dynasty right now. But the last great dynasty was the Warriors, and they were a high turnover team because anytime you have fluid offense, you're going to have lots of turnovers. When you have people who think about passing first, did you notice how many times we drove into the paint or how many times we would drive into the paint, kick it out to a person at the three-point line, and the person at the three-point line would pump fake and go straight back into the paint again. We would repeat the process almost like for 14 seconds out of that clock because we are a pass-first team. We love to pass. You know what I mean? We're constantly looking for it. Touch passes, swing passes, we're constantly looking for it. And part of that offense and that offensive flow produces turnovers. Now, with that being said, the issue that I'm having is where the turnovers are happening. And they're happening from people that I don't expect to happen. Last game, LeBron had 7 turnovers in one half. And then he had one more, so he had 8 for the total in the game. Tonight, he had 5 turnovers tonight. He had the most turnovers over everybody in the game. The next closest was Dwight Howard at 3. And, you don't want to see that, right? You don't want to see that from LeBron. You want LeBron to be taking care of the ball better. And some of these passes were just careless, man. Were just careless. And we know he's a tremendous passer. But for 2 games now, our highest turnover ratio coming from our superstar, our veteran, the championship, the leader of the team, he has to address that. So not only do you have the highest turnover margin, but you miss the most free throws in clutch time. Somebody put up a stat. He was shooting like, I think someone said he was shooting like 26 or 36% or something like that from the free throw line in clutch minutes. Okay, that's not good. That's not good for your legacy. That's not good for the trustworthiness of your team. Now your team is nervous anytime you shoot, and they're going to encourage him, and they're all that. But every single person that was watching that game, watching him shoot free throws, was nervous. He missed 4 free throws in a row in clutch time. That's not good, guys. That's not good. So, spirit bomb your boy LeBron. Of course, he's so mentally ready. He's gonna be ready to just go back. Now, what I'm hoping is he's gonna take his time and shoot free throws. Master the moment. I don't know how you can recreate it, but he has to master that moment because if we lose a playoff game because of bad free throw shooting, that's going to be horrible for his LA legacy because the first thing people are going to say is Kobe wouldn't have missed that, right? We've watched Kobe Bryant shoot free throws without an Achilles heel, right? But we need him to hit clutch free throws because it means more to us than anything to know that we can trust you in the crunch. Milwaukee, Denver, and LA Clippers over the next week. Big week ahead of them. It is. But Milwaukee is going to be the standard setter for that stretch. I believe we can beat all 3 teams. Okay? And I'm not saying that in hyperbole. I'm not saying that because, of course, I'm a Laker homer. I'm saying that because there's realistically a chance we could beat Milwaukee. I think right now, ESPN has us with a 23% chance to beat the Bucks. I don't know why that's 23%. That sounds crazy to me, especially when they just lost. But Denver, we've proven that we can hang with them, beat them. And the Clippers, I know that that's a game that no matter what happens in Milwaukee or Denver, the Lakers have the 25th circle. Nobody said anything. Nobody's asking about it. which leads me to believe that everybody knows. Don't even mention that to them, because when we get done with that Denver game, I'm telling you, you're probably going to watch the entire tone of the team change. I don't think you're going to see goofy JaVale and Dwight in the pregame warm up. I don't think you're going to see LeBron talking a lot. I think you're going to see them get real focused for that game, because that is more about redeeming themselves from the opening night debacle. LeBron once again had a horrible fourth quarter in that first game, and it kind of set the trend in the culture of the fourth quarter not being trustworthy for our team, where we lose leads and we keep things close when they shouldn't be close. I'm looking for that Clipper game to be the thing. But if we can beat Milwaukee, I think it's going to give us the confidence and momentum to walk into that Clipper game with a fresh swag that we didn't have on game one. After the fact, LA, Big Dev. Any way you can fast forward this season some? Not tripping on the loss today, and I know it's early, but it's crazy to think there's still another level this team can reach before the postseason. Guys, I don't even know what we're going to do when the postseason comes. I'm just going to take my Showtime forum hat off real quick and just pure fan talking right now. These last 6 years have been the most difficult years of my life. When you have a shirt like this, and this is what you're used to, and then you consistently miss the playoffs. And not just that, even when Kobe was here and we made the playoffs, I don't know if you guys remember that, we made the playoffs one year and we got beat out in that first round. None of it felt right. It just felt like all of the good vibes in the universe that got sucked out. And it was hard. I couldn't watch ESPN. I couldn't talk to my friends because it's like, man, I don't want to talk about sports right now knowing that my team sucks. I can't even get into conversations at the barbershop. I can't get into I can't hear it, right? And for the first time, we're looking at the playoffs as not like a possibility. It's like, in our minds, it's a must. Like, for us not to make the playoffs, something drastically crazy would have had to happen for us not to make the playoffs. And I mean drastically crazy would have to happen, right? And so, I wish I could fast forward the season, but part of me is enjoying this ride without the pressure of going, oh man, can we just get a few more wins? We're at 24 wins already, guys. 24 wins. And I fully believe we're going to be at 25 wins before this road trip is over. And to know that we have a win total like that before the end of 2019 lets me go, okay, yeah, man, I'm enjoying this ride. I want to see how we do. I want to see how we roll. But a part of me really does wish we can just get onto the postseason so I can buy my plane ticket, so I can fly down to Figueroa. And I'm telling you, if we win the championship, I better see every Forum fan member. We all better be at Figueroa. We're going to pick a spot. We all going to be there, okay? But if they don't learn how to shoot free throws, we ain't going to be on Figueroa, okay? At least not for a championship. All right, so Blake Sinclair, it's Davis' footwork growing up as a guard that makes him so effective on defense, in the post and on the perimeter. His handle's incredible, but once again, you're right. Him having the ability to slide his feet, stay low, it's just incredible, guys. He's a unicorn, man. He's a literal unicorn. You don't know what to do with him because he can bring the ball up. We've watched him do that. He can beat you off the dribble on a face-up. He can blow by you because he has that kind of speed. He can shoot fadeaway threes. He can shoot the jumper. He can hit alley-oops. He knows how to pass. His court vision's incredible. The biggest knock on Anthony Davis has been his injury proneness. And he's proven this season that he'll play through an injury. He'll play through a sickness. I can't help but wonder, how do you not call him the best player in the league? Now, I understand why you would say Giannis. But Giannis is just now coming into shooting outside the paint. And that was because he got his behind whooped last year by the Raptors, right? They just boxed him out of the paint and he didn't know what to do with it. So I'm glad he's shooting threes and all that stuff. But Anthony Davis is he's been a shooter. He's been a perimeter shooter. He's been able to catch lobs. And so I just, in my mind, Anthony Davis is the best player on the planet. He's the only player right now who's up for Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. Giannis is not even up for Defensive Player of the Year. You're not hearing anything about Giannis' defense like that. You're hearing about his offense because he can take 3 strides and already be past half court. But Anthony Davis is doing this on the offensive and defensive side. So Blake Sinclair, you're right. His footwork is incredible. Everything about what he does is incredible. Blake Sinclair, All-Star break is when the All-Star game happens. I see what you did there, bro. Smith 818. February 16th, 2020. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yep, that makes about sense. That's about right. The Maria Show. Vogel cost us this game. No, I don't think so, Maria. I think the free throws did. If we would have I want to just point this out. Had we just shot north of 50%, we would have won the game. We shot less than 50%. You don't coach free throws. As an NBA player who gets paid double digits in the millions, you should be able to hit the one shot that nobody's going to mess with you on. It's you take your time, you have your own shooting motion, you know exactly how far the distance is going to be. The distance will never change. The ball's not going to change. The hoop's not going to change. Everything that you do from the free throw line is about your mechanics and your practice. And the Lakers have not done that, and that's not something that Vogel should have to coach them on. I think Vogel did fine tonight. I don't see anything that he did wrong. Smith 818, he could have shaken the rust off at least. This would have been a game to help his confidence, Coops. Oh yes. I see what you're saying. Yes, yeah. I agree with that. This would have been a good tester for him for sure. Just to kind of give him the feel of like, hey man, you don't have to worry about running the offense through Anthony Davis. This is your time to shine. And but unfortunately, he's hurt, so we can't do that. The end of stretch lineup was horrible. LeBron plus spacing was the formula, and he didn't do that. I put a lot more on that on LeBron than I do Coach Vogel. I think number one, a lot of the offense is coached by Jason Kidd, I believe, and I know Frank Vogel has a lot of say in it as well. But as far as what I was watching, LeBron was he does this every fourth quarter. He's been doing this for years. When it gets to the fourth quarter, he tends to overthink when he doesn't have a second superstar. When the Cavaliers won that championship, is because he didn't have to think. He could literally hand the ball to Kyrie, and Kyrie would cook people in the fourth. For AD, the reason why we've been winning a lot of these games is because AD will rebound, he can shoot, he can handle clutch free throws, and the offense is going to flow through him. And so in the clutch moments, when you take that away from LeBron, he tends to struggle. He's been to the finals before, but he has not won the finals without a superstar next to him like that. And so, it's unfortunate, but I once again I don't like the end of stretch lineup, but the end of stretch lineup is supposed to include Anthony Davis, and there is no substitute for that. There's nothing Vogel could have done at the end to make that any better, right? You have Dwight Howard in there, because he's your most athletic big, who obviously was on a roll tonight, scored 20 points tonight. So you want to keep the hot hand big in there, who's obviously getting blocks, had 2 blocks tonight, but there's nothing else you can do. Leonard H. Buchanan, yeah, free throws cost us the game, yeah. Remember when the Clippers played the Bucks? Yeah, man, and I'm really praying that we don't let that happen to us, because the Bucks are waiting. The Bucks are waiting. They're mad that they lost, and Giannis is getting, I'm telling you, I can feel it. Giannis is getting flashbacks of getting beat by the Raptors. And, just losing on that floor. And, losing that game to Kristaps Porzingis was not in the plan. I don't think they intended to lose to the Luka-less Mavs, but they did. So they're going to be ready for us. Leonard H. Buchanan, Braun could have taken the 2 at the end, but chose to pull back for 5. Chose to pull back for LeBron relies a lot on the 3-point distant shot at weird points in the game, at weird points in the clock. He tends to shoot better at the end of the clock, but sometimes he'll just come down and shoot it at the most random moments. And you can tell because he doesn't, it's not like he passes it and then gets it back and shoots the 3. He'll dribble it up the court and dribble, and then just shoot the 3, which I know cannot be the offensive set. But maybe he's trying to establish that dominance or get his 3 going. But tonight he was 0 of 6. And why he wouldn't have gone to the bucket, it's the one place that I agree with Skip Bayless on. LeBron is the greatest driver to the basket we have ever seen. But I really am starting to believe for a little bit that he doesn't want to go to the hole knowing he's going to get fouled and has to go to the free throw line. There is a part of me that believes that. I'm praying that that's not true. But something prevents him from being aggressive in the fourth quarter the same way he's aggressive in the first. Okay, in the third quarter, he had, I don't know how many and ones he had. I think he had 2 and ones, I think. Driving to the paint, getting in. But that fourth quarter, it was just like, there were points where he just felt timid. 4 of 8 free throw, 0 of 6 from 3, and LBJ cost us, but he will figure it out. Ride or die with the king. George Santiago. Listen, this is a great problem for me to have. Even with LeBron going 8 of 20, even with LeBron missing those free throws, tonight LeBron had 20 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds. Okay? That stat line and this is on a bad night, guys, with no Anthony Davis. The man almost had a triple-double again. Almost had a triple-double again. So, yeah, you're right, man. He's going to figure it out. I need him to figure it out, preferably before the playoffs, right? I don't want to hear him say, I'm turning on playoff Bron. Because now I'm triggered. Because you said that before, and we ended up losing everything, okay? So, Leonard Buchanan, Vogel warned us about complacency. Yeah, and I'm not sure how much of it was complacency or just dual, not having Anthony Davis. Indiana's a great team, and being at the end of the road trip, right? But free throws you can fix. Free throws you can fix. I don't want to hear about LeBron going on NBA 2K and learning offensive sets. I want to hear about him waking up at 5 or 4 and at that gym spending an hour shooting free throws. And for all I know, maybe he is. But I want to see shots of that. I don't want to see him in the barber chair. I don't want to see Taco Tuesday. Not now. Like now, like all of that stuff is worn off. Like now we know we good. But I don't want to lose because of free throws. That's what I don't want to lose because of. Blake Sinclair, you almost wish LeBron just put his head down and drove to the basket more at the end of games, worry less about the flow of the offense, and just take over. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind him being ball dominant. I just want him to make the decision. I think part of the reason, and I'm not trying to compare LeBron and Kobe, but I hope you guys understand, like, the last great player we had was Kobe. The part that we knew about Kobe was going to shoot the ball. There was no question about that. Every team in the universe knew. Teams from the future and the past knew, oh, Kobe gonna shoot that. And at the end of games now, we're not sure what LeBron is going to do. I want him to have that same mentality to go, LeBron's gonna drive the ball. He's gonna drive the ball. He's gonna drive the ball. He's gonna drive the ball. Right now, teams have the one thing they've located on LeBron that they know he's gonna do is when he starts dribbling and looking at the ball, they're waiting for the three. But that's not what I want your signature thing to be. I don't want teams to know, oh, there you go, he's getting ready to shoot. He's getting ready to shoot it. I want him to drive. I want them to be so on their heels. I want them to be so frustrated at the end of games. I really wanted them to foul out tonight. Like, look, I want you guys to see this. This was the frustrating part for me, okay? Miles Turner had 4 fouls tonight. Sabonis had 5 fouls tonight. Like, these are guys that were killing us, right? Like, Miles Turner hit a 3. Like, you could have fouled out Sabonis by just driving to the hole. But we didn't do it. That's the stuff that drives me crazy with LeBron. So, Laker Metropolis, I would think that a second win against Denver at home will possibly hinge on Jokic's sluggish game. I don't know what's going on with the Joker, man, but I know one thing. We have to win that game. If he's sluggish and we don't win, I'm going to be a little bit worried. Okay? If he's playing well and we lose that game, I'm not going to worry about it. But if he's sluggish and we lose that game with him being sluggish, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to have a huge problem. So, Donovan Bryant, 8. We got swept by the Mavs in 2011. I'll never forget it. Worst feeling on earth. I remember that. That was the worst feeling on earth. Oh, snap. Vogel, I wonder what his mindset back in that building. I wonder what his mindset back in that building again. Oh, what was his mindset? Smith 818. I don't know. I mean, he obviously has love for Indiana. I think he became a respected coach because of how he played and the pieces that he had. Of course, he had Paul George and knows Paul George. And he had, he took players like Roy Hibbert and got Roy Hibbert an extended career in the NBA because of how he was playing in the playoffs. And he made that team a defensive-minded team. He made them, they did not believe they were underdogs. They believed that they were champions, man. He had the right mindset. And I don't know if any of that had anything to do with his coaching tonight because, I mean, obviously it's not the same team. It's the same city, but most of that is, it was underneath snow. So it wasn't like he was out gallivanting around the city trying to catch up with old friends. He literally came in and there was snow and they went to the hotel and went to the arena and now they're getting back on the plane again. Faceless God, this game was hard to watch. It literally feels like being stabbed right in the gut. Not only free throws, but choosing to go for a long 3 instead of a 2 to tie the game. I believe. I think I know Sean. Yeah, there was a point where we could have tied the game and we didn't. We didn't do it. And I think it's hard for us to watch. I think for most people on the outside, it's like, and even for me, for the most part, it's like, okay, well, they didn't make it, right? They missed it. They didn't make it. They missed it. And so we're not tripping too much, right? I think the issue is that it was completely winnable. And that's the problem that we had. It was completely winnable, and we just didn't do it. So that's the hard part to watch. And to watch did you notice how crazy Indiana went by beating us? If we would have beat Indiana at home, half of Staples Center would have emptied out by the mid-fourth because we don't care. We don't care. We just don't care. If we start beating down the Clippers, and we're winning and we're beating the Clippers, everybody's staying. But like nobody cares about the Pacers like that. But the Pacers care about us like that because that's the kind of team that we have. We get the best of everybody. Laker Metropolis, Bucks let Brogdon go, Philly let McConnell walk, and they're currently balling in Indy. Yeah, I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, man. And I know we couldn't have made the salaries work, but wouldn't you love a Brogdon to be teamed with the AD and LeBron? I think that would have been, oh my god, that would have been so great, man. To just to watch him be able to be a force on the outside. And tonight, he had 14 points tonight. He was 6 of 16. He wasn't much better than LeBron. LeBron was 8 of 20, and Brogdon was 6 of 16. But he still would have been a great piece. We good, relax, laugh out loud. Yes, sir. Lord Jordan 3. Side note, shout out to Melo balling out. Smith A1A. I don't know what Melo did tonight. God bless his heart. But I know the last game he had like 23 points. It's good to see him in the league doing that stuff, man. All right, let's do our ceremonial schedule watch. Of course, the biggest game that we have coming up needs no introduction. It is going up against the Bucks, and that is going to be the game of really, I think, the month. If not the game of the year, depending on how we play that game. That game could go overtime. That game could be a blowout. That game could go. There's so many different ways that game could go. But we're looking forward to that. I think we all are. It's going to be our first real championship test. I don't think the Clippers in the beginning was a championship test. I don't think either team really understood Paul George wasn't playing. And then for us, we had never played before. So there's just a lot of newness. I think right now we have a better understanding of our team and a better understanding of who we are and our identity. But the Bucks right now are going to be that championship heat check, if you will. Just how good are you really, right? You win in Milwaukee against Milwaukee. You're not going to hear all of this like, oh, the schedule. You're not going to hear, oh, that team's not good. That there's no argument that Milwaukee is a championship. Right now, it's the favorite to win the East. I can't think of another team in the East that is favored more than Milwaukee. And so to be able to beat Milwaukee in their home would not just be a statement win for us. It would be a statement win to the league to let them know that we are legit. And then just a few days after that, on Sunday, we have Denver, which is a great game. I think Denver, they're going to be good against Denver because we're back home, finally back home. We have a 3-day break. Well, we have a 2-day break essentially between Thursday and Sunday because Sunday's game day and Thursday's game day. But then Wednesday, Christmas Day, LA Clippers at 7:00. We don't know how that game's going to go, but we know it's going to be one of the most hard-fought games. I don't think that's going to be a championship-level game. I think it's going to be more of a Battle of LA game. I think it's going to be more of a sibling rivalry. I think it's going to be a battle of the banners. I think it's going to be the slaughter at Staple House, if you will. But that to me won't be the barometer test whether we win or lose that game. Milwaukee will be that for us. And then immediately after that, we get on the plane, we go to Portland. And then this is how we end the year, guys, heading into January. I like this stretch. Once we get past LA, I'm not afraid of Portland. We have Portland. We have the Mavs at home, which I think we're ready to avenge ourselves from that last loss that we had against them. Phoenix, New Orleans, Detroit, New York, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Cleveland, Orlando. We don't really have a tough game until Houston at the end of January. This is where I want to see us winning enough games, getting ahead in the game, having a comfortable lead in the fourth, and watching our stars load manage. Most of these games are going to be at home against sub-500 teams. I want to see us blowing these teams out, and I want to see Anthony Davis and LeBron James resting so that we can be ready for the next stretch, which is Houston and Boston. Those games are going to be tough. We have New York. That's going to be pretty much easy. But Brooklyn, Philadelphia, back home against the Clippers. So as you can see, we have these long stretches where it's pretty easy in the schedule, and then we have these short stretches where it's really tough. And I want to see us take advantage of these easy teams, man. There is no reason why LeBron should be playing with 7 minutes left in the fourth against Phoenix, or against New York, or against Detroit, or against New Orleans. New Orleans might be one of the worst teams to watch. I honestly don't know if I would rather watch the Warriors or watch New Orleans. I can't think of who is worse to watch. And so, we want to see our team manage these games well. Letting these leads blow out, letting these people come back into the games, you can't let that happen in this part of the schedule. This is where you're going to watch your stars rejuvenate, get ready for the All-Star break, and get themselves together. So, we'll see. Let's see here. Okay. All right, let me finish off with these questions, and then we're going to get out of here, guys. Brogdon is what Kuzma needs to be. Faceless God, that is the comment of the night. Because if we're being honest, he has the potential to be. Right? I think we all agree that, right? He has the potential to be that Brogdon-type player. Let's see. Let's see if he does. Alsa Acoustic, how is AD? I haven't heard much about AD. The last thing I heard is that he was in the locker room in street clothes. From the reports that they were saying, it didn't even look like he was even getting ready to play. So I think they kind of used the game time decision thing a little bit more as a scheduling tactic against the other team. But it didn't look like it was too bad. And if he was just doubtful for this game, I'm almost positive he's going to be probable for the next. And I don't think AD wants to miss that many games. Not with the way he's playing, and not after watching us lose. Laker Metropolis, I think the Bucks may be without Bledsoe. I'm not worried about Bledsoe. To be honest, the supporting cast for me doesn't really do much. Watching Giannis go for 48 and lose lets me know that the supporting cast is really not the issue there. Do you have somebody on your side that can keep up with Giannis? And this is what I do know. Okay? LeBron and AD together are going to outscore Giannis. The rest of their team, I don't think, can match up, especially if we're playing right. So that's why I really feel like we can win in Milwaukee. Next three, Bucks, Nuggets, Clippers, Leonard, Buchanan, H. That's right. That's going to be a tough stretch. Team Black Beast had to listen to this early game in the dreadful Cali traffic and join the Lakers talk anyway, man. Salute, man. Salute. Blake St. Clair, both streaks ending might be a blessing for the fireworks. The Lakers-Bucks game will be. Yeah. It's what we needed. It's the reset button that makes everything right. It's the only thing that's going to make the difference for me is if AD is healthy and ready to go. Blake Sinclair, Lakers get to 40 wins before 10 losses if all goes to plan on that run through to February. If we get to 40 wins before we get to 10 losses, we're going to be on a pretty historic pace. And like you said, you're right. It's possible. It's going to be all about how hungry we are. Are we doing what we're supposed to do? Do we hold on leads? Okay. When is the trade deadline? We need to move focus off Iguodala. Well, listen, the start of it, I believe, was the 15th or 16th. And I think it doesn't go. I think it goes all the way to February 15th, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I'm gonna look that up. But nobody was expecting anything to move on the 15th. What we were expecting to happen. February 6th. February 6th is the trade deadline. But everybody, the conversations and the rumors. So once again, most executives aren't going to start exposing their hand until right around now. And the reason why they do that is because some people are just a one or two pieces away from being a real contender in the playoffs, and others know that at this point in the season, there's no way. Like Golden State, the Pelicans, these guys are not going to be doing anything. This is the reason why you're hearing Drew Holiday on the trade block, because now David Griffin is going to have to go to a full rebuild because there's no way. They're not going to make the playoffs with their record. And even if they did make the playoffs, they're nowhere near ready for championship contention. Even if Zion came back today and they went on a historic run, they're not ready for the playoffs. And so it's not that we're moving off of Iguodala. Now you're starting to see what does the trade market look like. You don't move off of anybody at this point. What you do is you're looking to see, okay, what moves make the most sense. For us, you got to remember, not only do we, the part of the downside of how we did our signings is that none of our salaries are really going to match unless you give up a significant portion of your rotation, right? So buyout is going to be the only way, really. Even if we wanted a Covington, right, who apparently is on the block right now. Covington, I can't remember what his salary is, but we have guys that are just kind of playing for nothing right now, right? You have a Jared Dudley and you have a Quinn Cook. These guys are making nothing, right? And so if they're not making anything, how do you make the salaries work, right? Without giving up too many people. And I just don't think you can, right? So on top of that, our roster, really, we don't really have anybody that's tradable, right? think about this. Do you really want to give up Alex Caruso with the way he plays defense and what he offers you on the in that bench? He makes you deep. He's a top 5 defensive rated guard. Okay, he can hold down guards. So you don't want to trade him. You don't want to trade Rondo. As crazy as that sounds, I think we would have said that earlier in the season. But you don't want to trade Rondo. You don't want to trade KCP. You really don't want to trade Dudley. And I'm going to tell you, as much as he doesn't produce on the floor, he is a staple in that locker room. And as they call him Duds, he is necessary for the cohesion and the unity of that group. When stuff starts getting crazy, he's going to be the one that keeps things right. He's going to be the one that gets the fine going in. He's going to be the one who's going to stand up and do the fighting so the other guys don't have to. You need him, okay? You need him. There's a reason why we signed him. We need him. So I don't know who else you can get. I'm looking at Covington. Covington makes $11 million on his salary. We don't have anything that's even going to make sense for that. So just beware of it so that nobody feels like we struck out. I don't want anybody going after Pelinka. The way we constructed this roster wasn't really that we would make a lot of moves. What we could do is we can cut and we can buy out. That's what our salaries are set up for. Okay, our salaries are set up so that we can get rid of players easily. For instance, Troy Daniels is making $1.6 million. Jarrett Dudley, $1.6 million. Dwight Howard, not even a guaranteed $1.6 million. Kyle Kuzma, of course, we're not going to trade him, but he's $1.9. JaVale McGee is only $4 million, but I think JaVale we couldn't get rid of. Rondo we can't get rid of, but he's only making $2.5 million. So Avery Bradley's making $4 million. So like we have salaries that give us the opportunity to be flexible. Quinn Cook only makes $3 million. Alex Caruso makes $2.75 million, and this is first. So like our roster's really meant more for buyouts and cuts than it is for trades. And I don't think we're going to have anything worth trading. Maybe a Troy Daniels, maybe a Quinn Cook. I can see people taking on a Troy Daniels contract, but who do you get back in return? Who do you get back in return? Duncan Arts, hey, I bought vacuum parts for you last month. Still haven't gotten them. All I got was a package of dirty underdraws. Oh, okay, I don't know who that is. Daniels, Cook, THT, and a bad contract for men. Yeah, but once again, even those contracts don't make sense, man. Right? So Daniels, Cook, THT ain't even making $1 million yet, right? I think he's like at 8 something. He's making $898,000 this season, which for him is a huge payday. But with Daniels and him, you're talking about a $5 million, $6 million trade. Who are you getting in the $6 million category that's going to make this team better at the sacrifice of depth, right? There really is nobody, right? And you don't want to get rid of THT yet because he's on a cost control, he's showing promise, and you spent a draft pick on him, right? So who there's nobody really out there that's on the trade block that would make sense. And it's unfortunate in one sense, but on the other sense, it makes sense, right? Like, and here's what's key. And this is why I keep talking about this for the postseason. DeMarcus Cousins is on a salary for $3.5 million. Obviously, he's hurt. We did not use the injury exception on him. But I truly believe they're keeping him on with no one. Of course, ain't nobody trading for an injured Boogie Cousins. But I think they're keeping him on, and they're keeping his salary on the books because I really, truly believe they intend to use him in the playoffs. I think there is something that they are not saying about him being ready for playoffs. And that's just me. That's my conjecture, right? But could you think about that? Another stretch 5. Now you have a 4-headed beast with Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and Boogie. I'm not even sure how the rotations would work. But that gives you another stretch 5 who has the ability to shoot threes, who's on a cost-controlled contract, who's trying to prove himself, who has fresh legs. These are things I'm thinking about, okay? If only we could get Iggy. I know, man. That's ultimately what we have to do, and that's where we would have to cut somebody to make room for him. And I'm almost positive the person we would cut would be Quinn Cook. I think without a shadow of a doubt, if there's one person on this roster who is expendable and has to go, it's Quinn Cook. And even though he's listed as a point guard, we know that we're not running a traditional point guard, shooting guard system. Not with LeBron running the point. So he is extremely expendable. Okay, extremely expendable. He's 6'1", 180 pounds. Okay, and only $3 million. You can eat that contract and still be able to cut and eat that contract and still be able to get Andre Iguodala on a veteran's minimum. So And let me just shut this down too. We can't trade for Iggy. There's no trade that we can make for Iggy. None that makes sense. I think he's owed like 17 million. There's nothing we can do in the trade market. What we can hope for is that another team trades for him and then they buy him out. Obviously, the Grizzlies are saying they're not going to buy him out. So the hope in this trade deadline is that somebody finds a way to trade for Iguodala, taking on his contract, dumping off some of their bad salaries, taking on Iguodala, and then cutting him. That's probably going to be the way that we're going to get him if we get him at all. All right, guys, listen. Sheet Slick, wait till we get Boogie. Yeah, that's right. Fareed and Luke Mbute are on the buyout market. Yeah, but see, now you're talking about, now it gets real crazy, right? Because now you still have Boogie Cousins on the books, and now you're going to add another. Now you have 5 bigs. That would be crazy. I'm not even sure that's ever happened on an NBA roster, let alone have 4 bigs who could all contribute. Let me just say that. Who could all contribute, who've all either been all-stars, champions, or defensive player of the year. Like, that's crazy. All of our bigs on our roster right now have either been a champion, have either been a all-star, or a defensive player of the year. All of them. Every single one of them. That's bananas, guys. If you really think about it, that's bananas. Anthony Davis, lock-in Hall of Fame. Dwight Howard, lock-in Hall of Fame. JaVale McGee, NBA champion. And Boogie is just waiting for him to prove himself. Alistair Kusick, thanks for doing a great job, man. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna get off. I kept the hype man on way too long. It's an hour and 12 minutes. But let me just stop and end with this, man, and just tell you guys, I truly appreciate you guys rocking with me on these post-game shows, man. Especially with me being so far out of town and not really being tangible. But it's been really great to have the support that you guys have given. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm obviously not Greg Bergman. But I truly appreciate you guys showing us love and continually showing up in this chat after Laker games. You make it worth me staying up late, man. You make it worth it. And then just a last salute to our man, Greg Bergman. If you have not heard, he was promoted to assistant program director at ESPN LA 710 radio. And so it's just incredible to know that he has grinded as hard as he did. He built this forum alongside with us, and just knowing that he is getting his just due, man. He's being promoted. Him and Amanda Brown now will be program directors. And so just really excited for him, man. And if you guys can, hit him on Twitter and just tell him congratulations. He's not being as public with it as I wish he could be, as I wish he would be. But he has done tremendous. And he's the reason why I'm doing this right now, is because he's given a guy like me an opportunity. And you guys have given me the encouragement and confidence to keep doing it. And I promise you I'm going to wash this shirt and find something better that's going to be more lucky. Until then, thank you guys. Smith818, Donovan Bryant, Laker Metropolis, all you guys, man. Team Black Beast, all y'all. The Maria Show, Blake St. Clair, all y'all. I can't get to everybody. Faceless Guy, Laker, all y'all. I love y'all, man. And I'm out of here until we see each other again Thursday night against the Bucks. Let's reset the streak, man, and get back on it.